got a statement from President Biden, and police released new details about the confessed gunman.
Plus, just weeks after winning the Stanley Cup, one of the Avs' key players could be suiting up for another team.
And drawing the NFL draft to Denver, the effort to bring one of football's biggest nights to the Mile High City. And we are taking a live look at the Mile High City right now on this Friday morning, 8 o'clock. Gorgeous out there, barely a cloud in the sky. A few storm chances possible, though. With that one cloud hanging out, you know that it's going to be hot, Stacey.
It is. It's no doubt this weekend is going to feel like summer with highs right around 100 degrees. Our temperatures outside now in the 60s and 70s here for the Front Range. We have 50s and 60s down through southwestern Colorado. And I do think it'll remain dry here for the metro with highs in the low to mid 90s and partly cloudy skies. Our best chance for scattered thunderstorms across the eastern plains again today. So we'll see those pop up in the heat of the afternoon. They will be few and far between. Now our high country planner looks amazing. We'll have sunny skies going through much of the afternoon around 10,000 feet. Temperatures in the low 70s if you have plans for hiking or biking. As for those highs here for the Front Range, in the low to mid 90s here, and we'll be in the mid 90s up through northeastern Colorado for the afternoon.
And let's take a look at downtown Denver at this hour. This is at 20th Street and I-25. Traffic is flowing pretty smoothly. There wasn't a car on the on-ramp that was causing a few slowdowns earlier, but since then that car has been moved out of the way, so you're good to go if that's a part of your morning commute. Go ahead and go to the map, tell you about a few problem spots. We do have a crash here at Lincoln and Alameda that's causing major backups if you're on northbound lanes, so something to keep in mind. And then we also have a crash here at Green Valley Ranch Boulevard and Pena. Take a look at your drive times if you're headed to or from the airport, because that will certainly impact that drive. Westbound I-270 or I-70 from Pena Boulevard to I-25, 22 minutes. That's a pretty big slowdown. Eastbound I-70 from I-25, about 20 minutes. And then if we head just a little further north, westbound I-270 from I-70 to I-25, 14 minutes. Eastbound running you almost the same.
We are staying on top of the breaking news this morning, the assassination of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. He was killed while giving a campaign speech. Within the last 10 minutes, we are getting our first hint at a motive. Police say the 41-year-old shooter thought Abe was part of a specific group that he had a grudge against. Police haven't named the group or if the Prime Minister was in fact affiliated with them. The gunman used a homemade shotgun in the attack. We just learned a search of his home revealed several similar weapons. President Biden responded with a statement saying, even at the moment he was attacked, he was engaged in the work of democracy. While there are many details that we do not yet know, we do know that violent attacks are never acceptable and that gun violence always leaves a deep scar on the communities that are affected by it. The United States stands with Japan in this moment of grief. Again, those words from the president. We also just heard from Colorado Representative Diana DeGette, who serves on the Congressional Study Group on Japan. She says she knew Abe for many years and was always impressed by his unwavering commitment to deepening the relationship between our countries.
The first funerals for victims of the July 4th parade shooting in Highland Park, Illinois will be held today. Two beloved grandfathers and a former synagogue preschool teacher will be remembered. But the focus is also on whether this tragedy could have been prevented, possibly by the gunman's family. This morning, newly revealed police reports show several disturbing incidents involving the suspected Highland Park parade shooter and his family. A report from April of 2019 said the suspect attempted to commit suicide by machete. Less than 6 months later, police were called to the home again after the suspect threatened to kill everyone in the household. The suspect at that time turned over multiple weapons, including a 24-inch samurai sword. Police submitted a document declaring the suspect a clear and present danger. But his father, who sponsored his son's gun permit, tells ABC News he wasn't aware of the suicide attempt and believes the threat against his family wasn't genuine.
Making threats to the family, I think it was taken out of context where it's like just a child outburst, whatever he was upset about.
A candlelight vigil was held last night in Highland Park for the 7 victims of Monday's rampage. Funeral services for 3 of them are scheduled today.
We have each other. We will lean on each other. We will lift each other up.
And we're learning more about one of the youngest survivors of the massacre, 8-year-old Cooper Roberts, who is in critical condition on a ventilator. His family attends the 4th of July parade every year.
Cooper was shot in the chest, and he suffered significant injuries, including a severed spinal cord.
Doctors fear Cooper may be permanently paralyzed. His twin brother Luke and his mother Julie were also shot. His mom woke up in a different hospital but requested to be discharged when she heard about Cooper's condition.
Quite frankly, she probably should not have been discharged, but she insisted on it so that she could be at her son's side.
And there is a GoFundMe page for Cooper's family set up right now. It is just so awful. With gun violence at the top of everyone's mind, a group of Colorado gun owners is suing Superior, trying to reverse gun restrictions that are just a few days old.
Denver 7's Veronica Acosta is live with how a new decision from the Supreme Court is playing a role in this.
Well, new this hour, we actually just heard back from those Superior trustees who say they actually haven't even been served with that lawsuit. They say they haven't even been able to see it, which is why they can't comment quite yet. Now, this does come after Superior was able to pass new gun laws that are a bit stricter. They go ahead and ban assault weapons and magazines that can hold more than 10 rounds. These were passed just last month after the Uvalde, Texas school shooting. Rocky Mountain gun owners says those laws are unconstitutional. They were able to file that lawsuit in federal court just yesterday. It cites the recent Supreme Court decision, Bruin, which struck down a part of New York's concealed carry law. The decision said governments can regulate, but they can't prohibit the public carrying of firearms by law-abiding citizens for the purpose of self-defense. Now, before the Superior gun laws were passed, we spoke with town trustee Tim Howard. He told Denver 7 he hopes Superior's measures and ones like them passed over in Boulder, Louisville, and Lafayette prompt some state action.
My hope is that the state legislature will take forward a number of these for potential statewide adoption, that Governor Polis will look and recognize this is what the people of Colorado want.
Lawsuit statement, Rocky Mountain Gun Owners Executive Director Taylor Rhodes said the group was filing this lawsuit because, quote, Superior's anti-gun ordinance flies directly in the face of our right to keep and bear arms, and we're not going to stand idly by and let this town or any other rogue government trample on our right to self-defense. Now, the lawsuit also goes ahead and targets a state law that was passed right after the Boulder King Super shooting that gives local governments the authority to regulate guns. And again, the town of Superior and those trustees say they can't comment yet because they haven't seen that lawsuit. In Denver, I'm Veronica Acosta. Denver 7.
Yeah, not over yet for sure. Thank you, Veronica. School resource officers from across the country are wrapping up a conference in Aurora. 2 people impacted by the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary School will be the closing speakers. Michelle Gay co-founded the nonprofit Safe and Sound Schools after losing her daughter, Josephine Grace, in the shooting. School resource officer Will Chapman was one of the first responders at Sandy Hook. Last night, conference attendees gathered at the Columbine High School Memorial. The school's former principal, Frank DeAngelis, read the names of all 13 victims as the group reflected on their mission to keep our students and teachers safe.
One of the teenagers charged in connection to a deadly fire in Green Valley Ranch in 2020 now faces new drug charges. 18-year-old Kevin Bowie allegedly possessed and distributed fentanyl pills in jail. He was set to be arraigned yesterday on arson charges in which 5 members of the same family were killed. But since he's now facing new drug charges, his next court case for the arson charges is scheduled for later on this month.
A shakeup could be coming for the Avs starting lineup. Goalie Darcy Kemper will likely be a free agent soon. GM Joe Sakic is facing a salary cap and can't afford the extra money Kemper's agent is asking for. But we saw this coming yesterday. The Avs got Alexander Georgiev in a trade with the Rangers. The Avs are early favorites to repeat for the Stanley Cup next season.
3 former Broncos are semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Mike Shanahan, Dan Reeves, and Randy Gardeshar are nominated in the seniors and coaches categories. Shanahan led the Broncos to back-to-back Super Bowls. The finalists will be announced later this month. We're now learning Denver wants to host the NFL draft.
Yeah, the Denver Business Journal reports the Denver Sports Commission plans to apply to host the event the next time applications open. The city will likely try to host between 2025 and 2027. So listen to this. Cities that hosted the draft during the pandemic reported economic impacts of between $94 and $133 million. Compare that to the $57 million Denver estimated from hosting the MLB All-Star Game last summer. So the draft is big business. Next year's NFL draft is in Kansas City. The 2024 draft is in Detroit.
A big boost is coming to DIA. How millions of dollars in upgrades will be used to get you on your plane faster.
And we're helping you plan your weekend where you can celebrate with a parade right out of Mardi Gras.